It's wonderful to be with you guys. How you feeling? You feeling? You awake? Kinda still, we'll get you woken up. So that when you go out into the halls, that hopefully you're making a bit of a ruckus while you're here in the State House today. As Bill said, my name is Chang Diaz. I have the great pleasure, responsibility, honor of being the Senate Chair of the Committee on Education. Work with my counterpart, who you heard from earlier, Alice Peisch, who's the chair on the House side. In addition to wearing the chairwoman's hat in the Committee on Education, I also represent a major chunk of the great city of Boston. Who's from Boston? In the House, right? And as Bill said, also a mom. I'm a little bit late being with you here today because my youngest, 9-month-old, is homesick today with a double ear infection. So we're a little, off kilter with the schedule. But I dropped my 2.5-year-old off at daycare across the street in Ashburton Place. And I tell you something, I have a little gratitude journal, and this feels a little bit like Oprah. But I have trying to do this, exercise of a gratitude journal that I enter in every night. And I tell you probably, maybe a good third, maybe 40-50% of the entries say something like, oh, I'm just so grateful for the fantastic, phenomenal early education that we have access to in my family and for my children's wonderful development thus far in life. And I mean it. I say, their teachers aren't here today because I just saw them over there, but I hope you all will accept, on their behalf, my thanks to them and to you for the incredible work that you are doing in the trenches out there. And it drives home for me on a day like today, with our youngest at home, how much our lives and our little, microcosm of the economy grind to a halt when we can't bring our youngest into daycare because he's sick. And it drives home for me what happens in families where they don't have access to the kind of wonderful blessing that we have in my family and the privilege that that we're able to afford with a lot of effort in my family. So it's so evident how much everything we do in this Commonwealth depends on that foundation that you build and that you hold up for us as a state. But look, it's not enough for us to say thank you. And this is somewhat of a ritual, right? I've been here, as have many of my legislative colleagues, with you here in years past, and you come and you fight for that stabilizing wage. You fight for quality in the field. You fight for expansion of slots. And as speakers before me have said, oftentimes you come away disappointed. And I too raised my hand when he said, how many of you have come away in years past disappointed? And I'll tell you with candor, that's part of the experience of being a legislator and part of the experience of being an agitator and an activist is that you very, very rarely get 100% of what you come in for. But I will also tell you with optimism, I'm about 7.5 years into this job now as a state senator. And you don't win every fight, but it is my experience that you win enough times to make it worthwhile being in the ring. And that's why it's so important that you're here today, that you're in there. So don't be discouraged, keep up the fight. We will make progress inch by inch. And I hope that you will walk in power today as you are going through the halls and making stops in to talk with your legislators. I hope that you will walk in power and make your pitch from a sense of power, because that analogy that my colleagues made earlier about the foundation of the House, I think about that very literally. The work that you do is, in a metaphorical sense, like building the foundation for the lives of these children going forward. But we just passed a pay equity bill recently in the Senate. And there was a lot of really righteous commentary at the time of passing that bill that I agree with about how important it is and how overdue it is for us to get to pay equity for women in the workforce. And I see a few men peppered in the audience, and I love it that we have some men in our early educator workforce. But look, you all can see when you look around, it's mostly women in this room. And if we're serious about pay equity, we better walk the walk when it comes to paying women on par with other people who build literal foundations in our Commonwealth. So when you're walking around and you get pushback, if you get a little skepticism or a little pushback from anyone that you're talking to today about the decent living wage that you are asking for, and that's all it is, nothing more than a decent living wage, ask ask those people if they push back on you, how much does the Commonwealth pay for people who build the literal foundations of buildings that we buy as a state? Ask them how much those foundation builders get paid. And you're not asking for anything more than that. So walk in power today as you're going out there making that ask. Thank you so much for